Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Here.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of The Hunger Games Catching Fire, which is the second in the movie franchise based on the popular book series.
Right.
So like the first movie, I liked it, but I definitely liked the first half of it more than the second half.
Okay.
And in this movie, I think all of it was done pretty well. I mean, there were some things I didn't like about it, but overall, I thought it was much better done.
Yeah, I mean, it looked better. The special effects put more money into it. I've always appreciated about the series, even no matter how big the scope is, it still kind of has a smaller film feel to it. You know, it doesn't feel too grandiose, even with all the special effects, but this is definitely much more time and effort put into this, bigger production value. It looked great.
Yeah. So before we go on, we're going to talk about spoilers in this thing. I think we figured that most people are going to go see it.
What else have you seen this weekend? Delivery Man? No.
They're gonna see it because if you like the first one, you're probably gonna see the second one. If you didn't like the first one, you're probably not gonna watch this one because it's kind of more of the same but better in my opinion.
Yeah, right. I agree. Yeah.
So let's start off on what were your positive stuff that you liked.
Positives. First off, I like the way that they handled, kind of going towards the end of it. I like the way they handled the Hunger Games competition this season. It was much shorter. One, because we spent so much time, with the last film, in the arena and fighting. That was basically the whole big chunk of the movie. This one was a chunk of the movie, but it was much shorter. Kind of got right to the point. Another thing I liked about it, you and I talked about, was casting. I think they did even a better job with casting. So, of course, Woody Harrelson is always good. Jennifer Lawrence continues to be a good actress, but a lot of new actors I enjoyed too.
Yeah, I thought one of the main improvements for me was that the games itself was a lot better.
Yeah.
In the first movie, I liked the first half build-up to them going into the games, and I think the 5 minutes when they first go up to the games, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then it kind of started to lose me as it went on, and then the virtual dogs and all that stuff I didn't really care for.
Right.
Where this one felt more like, okay, here they're in the games, these are the dangers, and even stuff like the fog. I was like, oh man, don't get caught by the fog.
The poisonous fog. I mean, there's some good scenes. I mean, of course, when Mags, the character, the older woman, I loved. It felt kind of like a Luke Skywalker Yoda thing with the guy, having her on her back, kind of going through the woods. Yeah, Finnick. Yeah, it felt a lot like.
See, I like the
Yoda.
Finnick character. He was actually one of my favorite guys. I thought he was gonna be annoying because he was gonna be like too cocky. and stuff.
Pretty boy, right?
He was cocky, but I mean, he had good qualities.
Yeah, I really cared about Mags. And,
he was carrying Mags on his back. I mean, come on, you got to give him props for that. And he really genuinely cared about her in the context of the movie, and he had a love interest back at home, I guess, and so he kind of was an honorable person despite his cocky nature.
And I like the way they created him. I mean, it's very subtle because they mentioned like how he's good underwater. They said what's one of his weaknesses? Like, well, his strengths are he's good underwater. He almost had a trident, the staff, like King Triton would have or something like that. So it was cool. Like I liked all the little touches. I think that's the thing. I like the cast of characters. I like the. I guess we can call them villains. I mean, they're not really villains, but the kids that are the bad kids. There's about killing people. The girl with the fangs, and of course, I loved that we got some older people, like with Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright being in it with how he's smart, using the science to.
With Amanda Plummer.
Amanda Plummer, yeah.
Yeah, definitely the cast is better, and they're older too.
Yeah.
That's another thing because the last one was like all just kids.
Right.
It was all kids, but because these are all the the old victors coming back, you're seeing more experienced people with different type of skill sets. Where before it was just a bunch of young kids like going at it, So it just didn't seem, I don't know, didn't seem as dangerous.
Right.
I remember there was like a bee scene or something in the first one.
Right. Yeah, this seemed a lot deadlier. Like they were out to get people and kill people quick this time. No more hiding in the woods for days on end. So no, I mean they got to the point quicker. The beginning part was good for me. I think I liked the second half of the movie better, but the beginning part was good. We got a little bit more Liam Hemsworth in this one, because they needed to. I feel bad for him. He kind of pops up on the screen and he's gone. I mean, just because he's away from the city. So
well, speaking of Liam Hemsworth and the character of Gale, I just don't find that relationship very interesting.
No, they haven't given us enough to care about.
Not only that, I don't know. I guess the chemistry between Jennifer Lawrence and Liam Hemsworth, I don't know. Maybe I just don't buy it. It doesn't do it for me. I think like with PETA in the last movie, he was kind of a wuss.
Yeah. Well, he's a liability. He's always getting hurt. He's the one who's the most hurt all the time.
But in this one, I felt like he stood up to be, even though you could tell he's, still in love with Jennifer Lawrence's character, Katniss. Katniss. He was more of a man in this one.
Yeah.
And so I liked his character more, and I also liked their relationship more. That was one of the kind of negative things about the movie, but I understand why they did it, which was there was a lot of exposition, especially in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they did,
because they needed to explain a bunch of stuff
They
about
had to build up the world.
Not only build up the world, but they had to explain some stuff that wasn't explained very well in the first movie.
Right.
For example, in the first movie, you don't know that with Katniss and Peeta, like the kiss and their relationship is something she's doing for the TV audience, you know? But they explain it in this one, in some exposition. They're like, oh, you have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then they explain everything, and then you're, oh, okay, that's why that happened. But I did feel like Peeta and Katniss's relationship was better in this one, because then you got to see, like, even though she, she actually never really said she was in love with Gale. But she cared about Gale, they're dating or whatever. Yeah. But how her relationship with Peeta grew, because remember, Peeta is the only other person that she's like with that knows what she's going through.
Yeah, I mean, she's the only one. I mean, Hemsworth's character doesn't really know as much, because he's working the mines, whatever he's doing. He's not in it on the ground with her, and
not in the games. Never been through the games. Doesn't know what it's like to like have to kill like other people for really no reason.
Only Peeta on a relationship level, and then Hamish is almost like a mentor.
Yeah,
and that's again, Woody Harrelson's the man. He's just doing a great job, playing Hamish. But it's good. Yeah, I mean, it was good. There's a lot more developed, a lot more story going into it. I guess there's not too many weaknesses. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman as the new games master.
Yeah.
I like that. I think he's a great casting choice. You kind of always knew something was. I only read the first one, so I didn't really know what was going to happen in this one. But like, you always kind of knew something was happening, because like the people were like, remember who you're fighting for, and like all this stuff. Like, wait, did she sacrifice herself in the middle of the competition? And you knew, like, I felt like Philip Seymour Hoffman's probably a good guy. Because like when they had that dance in the beginning, it didn't seem like he was a bad.
Well, he said some mysterious things to her. So
maybe we'll meet again.
So you felt like there's something else going on behind his character, and of course at the end it's revealed that he's part of this conspiracy of revolution with Katniss as like almost like she's the figurehead and less of like actually moving the pieces, because she's the one who didn't know what was actually going on.
Which is interesting, and I'm curious to see what it's going to be like in the next movie, because it's almost like, she's being used as a pawn.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a pawn for a good reason. There probably should be a revolution, but at the same time, she's still being used. Like, she's not driving this thing forward. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. And what do you think about where the movie ended?
I mean, it was sudden, but being that we know the series, they're going to milk this franchise like Harry Potter. Going to split the last in two like Twilight. They're going to milk this franchise. So I had some forewarning going into it, so I kind of expected it. But at the same time, it didn't bother me. No, I thought it was a good point to leave off.
I heard the book ends at that same moment, so I don't think it's.
People in the audience were like, oh.
Yeah, people who hadn't read the books were like, oh, what happened? Like, where's the rest of it?
Right. It's like, it's coming over the next, gonna keep going. Got a couple more movies left.
And then what did you think of, what's his name? Senna's death? Larry?
Seneca?
Is it Seneca?
The guy, the former games master?
No. Lenny Kravitz's character.
Oh,
Senna.
He was beat up. We don't know if he's dead, though. You think he's dead?
I heard
we haven't read the book, so we don't know. We haven't read the books.
I heard he was dead, but I mean...
Oh, no. Okay, I thought maybe he was just beat up.
He possibly could be alive. I mean, you never know.
That was sad if he's... Oh, okay. I guess I didn't really feel much for it, because I was like, oh, maybe they'll come rescue him. But if he's dead, that's sad. I like Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
I liked his character. He's not playing who you think he would be, with the whole fashion designer thing, kind of flamboyant. I mean, he's great. I mean, that's sad if he's dead.
Well, he's using the fashion as like a political statement.
Yeah, with the whole Mockingjay, the wings and everything. And that would suck if he's dead.
Another thing I liked about this movie is like it definitely had a bigger scope. The games did. It felt like a bigger area with a lot more going on. The capital felt a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And also they were traveling from. In the tour, they're traveling from district to district, which we didn't really... We saw flashes of other districts in the first one, but nothing... This one felt more like, okay, we actually get to see more of... even where Katniss lives,
Right.
plus like the other districts. We felt like, okay, these are the places that are hurting. You know?
Yeah, I got to see more of the revolution, why people feel the way they do, and yeah, as they were like just reading the speech, and just saying all these words that were fake, and people were like, we want to hear the truth, we want to hear what you think. So, I mean, yeah, it's interesting seeing Donald Sutherland's character as the president, just trying to quell this rebellion here.
Well, yeah, because you have it's basically Katniss versus President Snow.
Right.
It's like this battle, but they're not physically battling. It's all like political maneuvering kind of through television and the audience. They're trying like they're battling through on that one Stanley Tucci's character.
Right, yeah, he's great.
Caesar,
talk show. Yeah, the girl on fire. Yeah.
That stuff like, and he's maneuvering by like making the Hunger Games like this and trying to make her in a poor light.
I mean, it even went so far as to affect his granddaughter's school. I mean, with her hairstyle. Yeah. He's like, all the girl, everybody's wearing their hairstyle like this now. I mean, it's cool.
Oh, and she's like, oh, I wish I could love someone as much as that.
Right. Yeah.
And inside he's like, damn it, this girl.
She's affecting my granddaughter now.
Yeah. All right. So, what are your overall thoughts and grade for Catching Fire?
I thought it was great. I'd give it a B+. I think the series still has room to improve. I don't want to go too far, give it an A- or an A. I think it could still get better, but it's definitely an improvement over the first one. Just looked better visually and just production-wise. I'd definitely give it a B+. Definitely recommend to go check it out.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a B+/A-.
Oh, all right, going higher, a little higher.
Yeah, I think maybe because it was, to me, even though I liked the first one, I thought it was a vast improvement, and I think those improvements really made me feel better because the production of this movie was a quick turnaround, so I was kind of worried with a different director. Right. And I was like, oh man, this might end up being a mess. Right. But it didn't. It seemed like they kind of had everything aligned and did everything. So I definitely recommend it, especially if you like the first one.
Yeah, go see it for sure.
So so you can post your comments below on the website thinkhero.com and on our YouTube channel Think Hero Pro. Make sure you subscribe to that.
You can also check us out on Twitter if you talk to Dennis or myself about anything. We're at Think Hero. I'm at Griffin DE.
And we also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. And make sure you like that page and you can share and tweet our videos. That really help us out. Thanks.